Let's move on now. I want to go to Europe. And James was actually just talking about this. President Biden meeting with King Charles and the British Prime Minister today before heading to the NATO summit, which starts tomorrow in Lithuania.
And joining us now for more and for reaction to Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen's visit to China is author of The Coming Collapse of China, Chang, and retired Air Force Brigadier General and former NATO advisor Blaine Holt. Thank you so much for joining us. General, I do want to start with you. We have some breaking news this morning. So a Kremlin spokesman is saying that Russian President Vladimir Putin met with rebellious mercenary chief Yevgeny Prigozhin last week. What do you make of this?
Yeah, so Prigozhin met with Putin on the 29th, about 4 days after the insurrection happened. What can we learn from this? Well, he also met with 35 commanders from the Wagner group. We also know that in that time frame that Wagner has been hit by the Russian army and hit by Libyan forces in some of their away locations. So Putin probably had a very stern session with all of them, probably going to leave them all alive and redeploy them in some fashion or format. Prigozhin could be put on ice. He could be put back to the front. But Putin has decided to play this very differently than what we would normally look at a betrayal at and how it would normally end.
Yeah, it's been fascinating to see the sort of dance between the two of them. It's clear that Putin needs Prigozhin, which is probably why he's not already dead. That's something we'll watch as we make our way through the week. Gordon, good to see you. I want to play this video back for you. So this is Janet Yellen. She was meeting with her Chinese counterpart, Li, in China. I don't know why every American diplomat, including John Kerry, in the next couple of days goes to China. They can come here, too. Secretary of State Antony Blinken went there. But so Janet Yellen, she's not new on the scene. She's been around since the world was flat. She's been around a long time, got a lot of experience. She's bowing to her Chinese counterpart. We can re-rack it and just show you again. She bows multiple times, which is a massive break in protocol. She is a foreign dignitary, a foreign diplomat. She does not need to bow to anybody in China, even though she's in China. Can you take us through what your reaction was to this?
In imperial times, Rob, vassals bowed 3 times to the Chinese emperor. But, you know, Yellen wasn't meeting Xi Jinping, the new emperor. She was meeting someone who was actually below her in terms of protocol. This was disgraceful. Americans don't bow to anybody. They don't curtsy to anybody. That was Nancy Reagan and the Queen, if we remember that. So really what we have here is the Chinese are looking at Yellen's visit and saying, here is a vassal coming to our grand celestial court, acknowledging their subordination. Now, we sent Antony Blinken. The Chinese humiliated him. Then we send Yellen. She humiliates herself.
Yeah.
Kerry's going to go. Gina Raimondo, the Commerce Secretary, is going to go. The Chinese, I think, are going to become even more belligerent because we're feeding their already inflated sense of self-importance. This is going in all the wrong directions.
Yeah, and General, so Janet Yellen, this is a quote. She said, decoupling with China would be a disaster for America. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely not. She said that to the Congress as well. And to Gordon's point, these small protocol issues are so important. And I'm certain in the protocol sheets, she just went ahead with what China said to do. But this decoupling nonsense, when you have an aggressor that's going for your throat, you've got to go to your bankers here in the United States. You got to go to businesses. You got to go start creating policies that make America safe, from farmland to influence in our nation from an espionage standpoint, our southern border, the fentanyl mess, and the spying with the balloons. This is not a nation that we should be endearing ourselves to. And what they're doing, hat in hand, is forcing a relationship that China's not going to give them.
Yeah, Gordon, to General Holt's point, forcing a relationship. I mean, we know how China feels about us, and it just seems that, you know, we, as you mentioned, you know, we had Blinken over, we have Yellen, and then Kerry's going. It just seems that we're bowing to China, and we're almost saying, well, whatever you want. It doesn't appear as if we are the strong leader here.
Yeah. China should be the one trying to mend relations after the spy balloon and other incidents, not us.
Right.
And by the way, the day that Yellen arrived in Beijing on Thursday, Xi Jinping was talking to the Eastern Theater Command of the People's Liberation Army, the command that will lead the invasion of Taiwan. And he was giving another one of his let's go to war speeches. And it was more than just talk, because on Thursday, as well as other days, China has been trying to seize Reed Bank in the South China Sea from the Philippines, another act of aggression. So China's preparing for war. and the United States is just oblivious. This is 1930s type dangerous.
Wow. Okay. Strong statement. Gordon, take a listen to President Biden on his relationship with President Xi and China.
I sometimes say to my colleagues, I've spent over 180 hours talking with my NATO colleagues and European colleagues in person or on Zoom. I say to them, do you know anybody, any world leader who would trade places with Xi Jinping? Okay, I'll trade. I'll take their problems, you take mine. I don't know anybody who would, because it's not that he's a bad guy or a good guy. The circumstances are enormously complicated.
Biden called him a dictator a week ago. But Gordon, just want to get your reaction to that and just the fact that both of our economies here in the U.S. and in China are so bound together. How big a problem that might be, especially if China does, say, move on Taiwan over the next couple of years.
Yeah, if pharmaceuticals, we get it somewhere between 85 to 90% of our pharmaceuticals or active pharmaceutical ingredients from China. In March of 2020, they threatened to throw us into the mighty sea of coronavirus. They actually turned around ships on the high seas that were carrying personal protective equipment to New York hospitals. So it is a critical problem. And you know, the thing about this, Rob, is that we're not doing anything about it. I mean, we've known about these critical vulnerabilities, rare earths, APIs, all sorts of stuff, and we don't do anything.
Yeah, good point.
Reactive, not proactive.
Good start, gentlemen. We'll keep an eye on it throughout the week. Gordon Chang, General Holt, thank you. Appreciate it.